Hey, what's up, you guys? I am here with Clark Mcnulty. Jorge couldn't make it tonight because he had another engagement, but we would like to introduce Clark again. Clark, what's up, dude?
What's happening?
So Clark McNulty back again, and tonight, very special treat. We're going to hear all about his tournament, the White Seabass tournament that has been going on for, God, what is it now?
This is our 9th year, so it's been going on since I think our first one was 2014.
Long time you've been doing this, man. This year is the first year I actually signed up for it. Sorry, man. I've been watching it from the peripheral, and now I'm like, fuck. Why have I not joined this?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, a lot of guys don't really want to compete, or they don't like the whole competition thing, but it's all good, man.
I don't mind getting my ass kicked by some divers out that are freaking amazing out there. I don't mind.
Yeah,
show me up.
It has grown. I mean, we're over 100 divers a year now for this thing. So it's I would probably bet to say that it's the biggest white sea bass spearfishing tournament on the coast.
Dang, man.
I don't know of a bigger one. Do you?
No. And white sea bass is such a nostalgic fish that everyone and their grandma, I mean, who doesn't want to get a nice white sea bass and say, hey, look at this rad fish that I got, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's like such a, some people go their whole career and they never see one. So
I know, crazy, huh? Well, why don't you tell us? I want to know, and I think there's a little bit of a tragedy in here, right? How did this competition first come in?
Yeah, so we started this thing in 2014. Unfortunately, our younger brother had passed away.
Did he die from diving, or what happened?
No, he had died from an overdose, which is all too common today, even still. And
that's a real bummer, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was definitely tragic. It's tragic for any family that's gone through it, and there's a lot of families that are going through it, unfortunately. And so we basically decided, how do we carry on his name, or his legacy, and keep his name alive, So we had gotten together and we decided, we used to dive sea bass together. We grew up in Palos Verdes, and so all those spots, that people dive, we call them, like people call hydrant, right? But we grew up surfing there, so that's to us is upper indicator. And
yeah, I don't think I've paddled out there yet, but I'd love to.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, anyways. I know how it works.
So, we just sort of grew up diving all those spots. I think I started diving when I was 14 up there. We just, had pole spears, and we'd swim around and probably shoot fish that we weren't supposed to shoot, and, didn't know what we were doing. We were kids. And, but, and we were probably in 10 feet of water, and then, as you gradually swim out farther and get into the deeper water and see bigger fish and upgrade your equipment, and next thing you're seeing 40, 50, 60 pounders swim by. So that's how we got into it, and that's why we wanted to carry on his legacy in this way.
That's nice. Well, let's have a little toast to him, and you're gonna pick the next beer we're gonna try out tonight.
Yeah.
So you got 3 left to choose from. You got the Zealander India Pale Ale, you got the Neon Giants Astronomically Hazy IPA, or Lead Dogs Brewing.
Lead Dog, where's that from?
This is Ryan's Wrath Hazy IPA. This one's from Vegas.
One of the hazies, huh?
Yeah.
Let's do one of the hazies. So maybe the Neon Giants, the Astronomical, because we might talk about some weird shit.
Well, this is the right show for it. I've told you that 100 times now, I'm sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Yes, I am trying to coax Clark into some stories here. We'll see what he feels like he's up for disclosing. Here you go, brother. Whoops, not too much head.
Oh, good. Perfect.
All right. Let me go to this main view here so we can pour it up and then say cheers and all that stuff. Yeah. Alrighty. Hey, thanks again, brother, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Not bad. So, Jorge couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately. He's got family commitments, but whatever. That's okay. He'll be in next week, guys. Don't worry. Jorge will be back. Okay, so you started this tournament. You dedicated after your brother. What was your brother's name?
Kirk. So it's the Kirk Mcnulty White Seabass Spearfishing Classic.
Okay, so it was named after him. Okay,
Yeah.
Kirk Mcnulty. And you have another brother, right?
Rhett. Yeah, Rhett.
Okay.
He's helps me with the tournament, which is great.
And we're all three of you divers and surfers and all that stuff?
Yeah, we all surfed and, dove like, I mean, at different sort of times in our upbringing, we got into it. So
nice.
yeah, Kirk was an avid diver. He worked out of Ventura on the Vision and the Conception as a rescue safety diver for years. And then he started working on boats overseas. He worked on a 140-foot luxury, like, cruising cat that used to do trips down in Vanuatu and down in New Zealand and the Bay of Islands. And
okay, so what was he doing? He was just a deckhand. He was
a mate.
Tours or the tourist things or what? Fishing trips?
Basically what they called it was like small ship cruising. So it was like private yacht charter. So they'd take families out to the islands for, a number of days, or they'd fly families in or groups into Vanuatu, and they'd take them out to like remote atolls to go fish. And they had a couple skiffs on the boat they would offload to fish. So he would run the skiffs for fishing. And yeah.
So what was the biggest fish that Kirk ever shot?
The biggest fish that he ever shot, probably in the 50s, I think. I was with him for a fish in the 50s, a sea bass on the hill.
Nice. So he got a nice fish.
Yeah, he shot sea bass. He shot yellowtail. He shot a lot of fish in the southern hemisphere when he was down there. I don't know what the biggest one was.
Okay, so yeah, he got his hands on some good fish before he passed.
And then they fished a lot of they jig fished a lot of dogtooth snapper down there, or dogtooth tunas.
The tunas, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are
marlin.
Hard to shoot. They tear out easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos about those fish. So you started the tournament in his name. It's been going 9 years. So obviously, to me, the tournament is the largest white sea bass submitted. One fish, you can turn in a few, but it's in the order first, second, and third for the largest fish.
Yeah, I mean, we initially like started the thing and we're like, okay, let's give everybody like 3 months to go. I don't even know why we came out. That was like ridiculous. But we were like, okay, it's 3 months long. And then like after 2 years of that, I was like, this was like 6 months out of our year to manage it. I'm like, this is crazy. So then we cut it down to 2 months, and now we're at 30 days, which seems to be like a better, sweeter spot.
Yeah, I think so. 30... Just from having watched it from the outside, it seemed to me like 30 days is like, okay, game on, you got 30 days, go, instead of like,
It's much better. I don't know why we had this crazy long duration before. It just was what it was.
But, it is what it is, and it was what it was, and it's evolved, and it's changed like things do.
Yeah, it's evolved, and so we basically started with, and the whole premise was to carry on his legacy, but also to give back, right? So we had
please tell me about that.
So there's basically we wanted to contribute dollars to a conservation effort to like releasing more white sea bass back into the natural habitat. So we partnered with Hubs and with the Ocean Enhancement Foundation, which was out of Redondo Beach, which had sea bass pens on land at the Sea Lab. And they had those for years, so a lot of our funds would go to donating. So the sign up, the registration fees, partial proceeds would go to that towards supporting the white sea bass grow outs. And then we would also, with the nonprofit that we had, which is called oceansglobal.org, we were taking and trying to take people who were recovering from substance abuse, and we were trying to introduce them, and we still are doing this, but we were introducing people to ocean-related activities. So we were using the other part of the proceeds to pay for renting stand-up paddle boards and bringing out like, a qualified stand-up paddleboard teacher to lead a group of 12 guys, paddling around the harbor. And these guys may have never been on in the ocean before, right?
I like that. It reminds me of like some of the inner city outreaches. Right. Where you get kids to the ocean that have never seen the ocean. And these are like kids that are in their early teens and they've never seen the beach or nature or anything like that.
Well, these guys are all in their like 20s and 30s, which is crazy, right? So, and then we were doing surf classes with them, and this is all pre-pandemic stuff. And then the pandemic hit, and that really sort of slowed the program down. And now we're just coming out of the pandemic. So, and then during that time too, the Sea Labs sold, so those pens went away. So we looked at like maybe partnering with Marina Del Rey, and we haven't really figured out like what pens really need the money. So we partnered now with Edison High School in Huntington Beach because they have a Seabass program.
Nice.
And so we're donating cash or money to them now. And we have a small video that we're putting together that's going to be talking about, oceansglobal.org and the efforts behind, what we're doing with the proceeds from the Kirk Mcnulty Spearfishing Classic, essentially.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you brought some imagery. You can kind of show some of these amazing catches that have come in over the years, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we can work in reverse order. I didn't bring previous year's winners pictures of them, but I do have a few. But every year it seems to be that the fish are over 70 pounds. So I think there was one year that there was a fish that was 66.1, but every other year it's been over 70. So last year, Corey Fujita, well-respected diver in the community, 72-pound fish. The year before that was Justin Moore. He had I think
it's back that way. Yeah.
I think he had there's his fish, 69.4.
Nice.
So that's a great, beautiful fish, right? And then, you go before that, and you had a couple. God, I can't remember. I have to go back and look. But we've had guys, that are newbies that no one knows shoot fish, and we've had guys that are like some of the most respected divers out there. I think.
It's crazy how that actually is with white sea bass. I've heard stories of people that have never shot a fish in their life shooting an 83-pounder, and it's like,
right,
wow,
yeah,
okay.
Right, exactly. Then they're the best diver ever, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, here you can see like here's a sort of cool picture. It's Joel Olnick, Joe Farlow, and Chris Oakes, and then Brooke Bass and myself. And so Joel's won it twice. And I think they were both over 70 pounds. I think one of them was 75.6 that he shot. And he's always been sort of a savage, same with Oaks. He's just like super fishy and just like such a good diver. And then you got Joe, who's just fucking wild, man.
Oh yeah, so, wild
Joe. Joe's just going for it, all the time, So
bro,
he's got new motors now. Watch out.
Yeah, I know. Watch out for Joe this summer.
Yeah,
tearing up the blue water near you.
Yeah. So, and they have a check in this photo. So we did like a cash prize. We had someone donate, like they wanted to donate a cash prize in the winners, and then I think Joel was just like, I don't want the cash prize, just give it back to the organization, which was cool. And but really, what we do is, we've had great sponsors every year. So, all the major dive manufacturers, like most of the ones here on the West Coast, have contributed pretty much every year product, and that really goes towards, the raffle and to the winners of the tournament. So the top three guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's I'm excited to be in it this year. I'm actually probably going to spend the next 3 days working my ass off to try and jog in and catch up. I think the next 3 days are probably going to be my best shot at it.
Yeah, well, conditions hopefully clean up here in the next couple of days after that wind.
Yeah, it looks semi-promising. I'll just say that, semi-promising. So, who you got here?
This is I think 2016 awards. This is Josh Fleming from Merrick Spearfishing down in Oceanside. I think his fish was like 66.1.
Nice fish.
And then we have Sophia Nuvu on the left. She's been a huge help to the program. My brother, and then myself. And then on the far right, you have John Whitaker, who was running the Ocean Enhancement Foundation at the Sea Lab for the white sea bass pens there. And he's still actively involved because they're still trying to they are negotiating with the city on whether or not they can get new sea bass pens allocated or an area for that.
Okay.
In Redondo.
No, I hope so. I mean, it's a great program. It's great that you're utilizing this event to honor so many things. I mean, protection of the fishery, preservation of the biomass, honoring your brother, the spirit of competition, outreach to people that are struggling. I mean, what a great way to share the love, so to speak, on so many fronts. It's such a rad idea, dude, and I'm so glad you're doing it. And I'm so glad that this year I've actually got my ass into it. And hopefully I'll pull up a fish for your brother. We'll see.
Put something
or maybe
on the
somebody else will.
leaderboard,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, a lot of people think. I mean, I've heard people, in the dive clubs say, "Hey, these conservation efforts don't work." Right? Like we're spending all this money to grow out these fish, and we're chipping them all, and we're releasing them all, and it doesn't work. But we have had, this is a small tournament, relatively, right? Like we have 100 divers a year, and out of those divers, we probably have 20% catch rate. Like 20% of the divers might shoot a fish, right? And those fish, we have everybody turn in the heads at the end of part of the process is for them to submit the heads for research. So over the years, we've actually had one fish that was chipped by Hubs, and it was released in Carlsbad in I don't remember the exact year, but the fish was 14 years old, and it was a mature breeding fish, and it was speared by Joe Farlow off of PV, and it was a 48-pound fish. And they said that when the head got turned in, they looked at the stones. They said this is the 12 to 14-year-old fish, and so there you go. I mean, that's a very small sampling of us spearing fish, and one of those fish was chipped, and it's of mature size.
Yeah, well, you know what? Hey, you know what? Whether you think it works or not, it doesn't really matter. In the end, it's about it's about wanting to contribute and wanting to give.
Yeah,
I think that's more important than anything. But the fact that you have some proof there, you have some data to grab, it's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's sort of nice to be able to go back to those like tiny stats and say, hey, we did have a fish that was chipped, and
oh, that's cool. Well, I'm glad you do it, and thanks for giving me the whole history on it. I've always been wanting to ask you about that. When I heard that it was in memory of your brother and all that stuff. That's a great way to keep pushing on.
Yeah, for sure, it is, and I mean it's a good thing for the community too. It's good to drive awareness for the community on what's happening out there. With my brother, with other people's families, and obviously on how to give back and how to contribute to, conservation efforts if that's what you're into. And then, for us, it's like there's other tournaments that have, there's the Jack, and there's some other big Seabass tournaments that have gone on, and they're sort of like, still trying to keep them going. And it's just, even with ours, it's like, I know why they're trying, it's just hard. It's a lot of effort to keep these things moving year over year.
Absolutely, especially when you're not taking a paycheck out of it, and there's not really anything in it for you other than maybe some nostalgic or memory reasons, or just wanting to give of your own goodwill. But no, it's rad. Have you ever won your competition?
I have not.
No. I'm waiting for the day when you bring in a fish and you do it.
That would be dream come true, right? I mean, to win that thing.
You got all these guys who are going to places that they've got it all dialed in, and you're like, hey, I'm still just diving right here.
Yeah, it's like I put 2 50-pounders on the board last year, and hey, some people shoot 73-pounders on their second try.
Dude,
some people don't.
I haven't broke 53 yet, so
I'm not over 60. So it's just like, hey, man, it's just luck of the draw. But one day one will swim by.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I think you revealed a little secret in there if anybody was listening, but that's okay. Hey, so I've been trying to bug you about what we do on this show, right?
No, not really.
This is a show where strange things happen.
What happens? How strange?
Strange things. we you see how if I lean in, you see my cheek right here. No, right here. It's starting to kind of disappear.
Right.
That's because there's interdimensional energy in this room.
Crazy.
Yeah. So we're like phasing in and out, almost like Captain Kirk and Spock and any of the other Star Trek Enterprise dudes.
Sounds
just
like
going
you
up
need
and down.
some psychedelics for that.
Yeah. Well, those help too, for sure. But we talk about a lot of weird stuff on this show, but our big thing is the whole alien thing.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you've seen anything.
You know, I mean, we all think we've probably seen something, right?
Right.
I mean, seen, heard. You know, I've heard of some crazy stories out there.
Okay.
And they're not.
So you're not saying
related, but you know.
But you're not saying like
they're like more government conspiracy kind of related.
Okay, but doesn't that also kind of have to do with beings that are not from this planet, or maybe from this planet, but we don't even realize that they're here?
That I don't know.
He's saying no comment.
Yeah, I don't know if that's you know, do I think aliens are real? Yeah, I think that's a real thing. You know, I think there's all sorts of different beings out there.
What if I told you I was half alien?
Yeah, I'd believe it. I'd believe it. You know?
See, I got this thinning here. You know, this is like
the way your fingers look on that keyboard is definitely sort of looking a little alien.
See, exactly. It's like I could operate an
like
alien keyboard, a spaceship, totally. You know, see, I got the dome. I got the alien dome going on.
So, what kind of stories are people telling about aliens on here? Talking about Tic Tacs and
we had a guy who my wife used to go to his workout program. He's here in Long Beach, out on the cliffs there, Ocean and Cherry, Midtown Long Beach. His name was the Fit Monster. He still runs his thing out there, Fit Monster, and he came in here and he worked for the Mexican military. He's from Mexico. He was a special ops guy, and he told some fucking stories on here that would blow your mind away. Just insane stories. And he was like, I don't give a crap if anybody doesn't believe me. I don't give a crap if anybody thinks I'm insane. This really happened. Like crazy stories. As a matter of fact, before you leave tonight, I'll send you I'll send you that video. You gotta watch it.
Yeah, I definitely have to see what he said.
Okay, but he was signed to non-disclosure. But I guess in Mexico, the way the government works there is there's how you doing, Humbert? You good?
I'm good.
Okay. There's some depending on your security level, your clearance level, is how much how many years your disclosure lasts for. So his ran up, and he was able to blah 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 blah.
Interesting.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. You have to send it to me.
Okay, so for the record, Clark is saying it maybe. All right.
Maybe.
So there it is.
No,
All
I
right.
think it's a thing. I think it's a real thing. Definitely.
I agree. Well, I'm not going to push you because I know you used to work for the government, right? So.
Not necessarily. I work for contractors.
You work for contractors who work for the government, so there's only so much you can say.
Right.
Got it. Loud and clear. Okay. See, he's perfect for this show. We just need to keep Ryan. Hey, dude, I so much appreciate you coming in tonight and talking about the Kirk Mcnulty. Am I saying it right now?
Yep.
Okay. This whole I don't know where my head's been this whole time, but finally I feel like I'm informed.
Yeah, I'm glad you're involved, and you know, hopefully you get a fish, and we got some cool T-shirts.
I'm looking forward to that T-shirt. By the way, that design is rad this year.
Yeah, it was badass. Brenson Sakis, down in Orange County, we partnered up on that thing. That was a fish that I shot last year, and my brother Rhett took the underwater photo of me coming up with it, and then I was talking to Brenson. I'm like, how about we use this, and what do you think, and what kind of styling elements can we add to it? And he just went to work and just sort of nailed it, you know, and it looks really bad. It's got to be, you know, the best shirt that we've ever done so far, I think.
You guys are all watermen. You're hunters. You're creative. You're a photographer, dude. You guys are like the epitome of the Southern California Renaissance Waterman artist. Your
Yeah.
family.
Well, we like it that way, you know. We like to be creative, and we sort of grew up in an environment that allowed us to sort of be just a bunch of misfits, you know. I mean, we
Hey,
sort
that's
of like
that's awesome, dude. I think
You
if you're
know?
into spearfishing, more or less, you kind of have a little bit of that misfittingness
Yeah,
to you, and
we were-
surfing and all that.
we were allowed. We sort of had free reign when I grew up, you know. I mean, we like it wasn't like now, you know. Like we had land below our house, and like we would go run around the canyon. And I mean, this probably dates me, but you know, my mom had a like dinner bell, you know, and like
That's awesome,
we
dude.
had dirt bikes when we were kids, so we'd just come home from school and we'd like build track all day, you know.
Dude.
And like so, and that was when we were like, you know, preteen, and we just ride dirt bikes and build track and like fuck off, you know. And then as we got older, we started, you know, surfing more and sort of transitioning out of that stuff that was close to the house, and then going, you know, offshore and spending a lot of time offshore, and that's what's led to, you know, work with the Deadliest Catch and those kind of jobs now.
You know what? I'm gonna do a little thing on being a waterman in California and all of that, and I'm gonna reach out to you because I think you would be perfect for some of my stories.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on, dude, and I look
My
forward
pleasure.
to working with you in the future on stuff, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Clark, thanks so much. You guys like and subscribe. And Clark, shout out to Clark. His photography is awesome. You can check him out at Clark Mcnulty. What's Instagrams and stuff you want to throw out there?
Just that's it. Clark Mcnulty at Instagram or whatever. At Clark Mcnulty is my Instagram.
Yeah, at Clark
and then,
McNulty. There you go.
That's pretty much it. You know, we have the Kirk Mcnulty Spearfishing Classic, so you could follow that one. That's one where we keep all the leaderboard updates, all the updates about our sponsors and what's happening with the tournament and whatnot. So
Sweet.
Yep.
Dude, thanks for coming in, and thanks you guys for
Yeah.
tuning in. Like and subscribe if you want. There's always going to be more goodies down the road. And, dude, thanks again for coming in, man.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Peace out, guys. We'll talk to you later.